Last season, Alabama and Georgia met in Tuscaloosa in a matchup of undefeated teams. The Crimson Tide stormed out to a 28-7 lead, only for Georgia to come all the way back and take a lead. But one play from a then 17-year-old saved Alabama, who went on to win the game. This now 18-year-old made Georgia rethink their entire offensive approach. The victory against Ole Miss was a history maker for Alabama women's basketball. With this win, Coach Christy Curry hits 550 wins as the head coach of the University of Alabama, and this is the fastest team in the entirety of Alabama women's basketball history to get to 20 wins. But this Alabama team does not care about history. It was a long road to recovery for Staten, but he finally feels like he's back to his old self after hitting a 3-run home run against Auburn and a 2-run home run against Southern Miss on Tuesday. The only bright spot for Alabama after losing to a 15 seed is that this team's season is not over yet. Alabama now turns its attention to the upcoming NCAA tournament, where it's single elimination. Auburn will be facing a Missouri team that has not left Columbia all season. Currently, Missouri is a slight 1.5-point favorite in this Tiger Bowl, but the home crowd at Jordan-Hare Stadium might provide the edge that Auburn needs to secure a victory. That'll do it for Around the SEC. For Football Friday, I'm JD Zasa. Last night, Alabama basketball took on the Tennessee Volunteers inside Coleman Coliseum, and we have the highlights. Starting things off here, the crowd erupts as Charles Bediako enters the game for the first time since the NCAA deemed him eligible. On the first possession right here, Trelly finds Bediako, who gets the slam dunk. Only minutes later, here, LeBaron Philon would find Bediako for the alley-oop, and Tennessee had no answers for Charles Bediako early in the game. Alabama would not forget its identity, though, as Aiden Sherrill gives it to LeBaron Philon, and he finds Latrell Wrightsell in the corner to hit the splash three-pointer. But the Tennessee Volunteers would not go away, as Corey Gillespie finds Nate Amen, who gets it from behind the arc. Alabama would answer back, however, with another alley-oop right here to Charles Bediako. The game was a back-and-forth battle between two rivals, but in the end, Tennessee, led by Amen's 29 points, will come into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama 79-73. Alabama football is parting ways with offensive line coach Chris Kapilovic. Cap was hired 2 years ago from Michigan State, and the O-line struggled. Alabama averaged its fewest rushing yards per game of the century this last year. The move comes a week after the transfer portal closed, ensuring none of the linemen recruited by Cap have the ability to enter the transfer portal. Alabama will have a completely new offensive line next year as Parker Brailsford, Caden Proctor, Cam Dewberry, and more are moving on from the program. On Friday, the third-ranked Alabama gymnastics team beat Missouri 197.5 to 197.225. This was the highest score all year for Alabama gymnastics. Gabby Glado and Chloe LeCourcier tied their top scores with 9.975s on the vault and floor, respectively. Head coach Ashley Johnson said the high score wasn't the focus after the meet. Stillman's men's basketball hosted Talladega today in the Hard Word Classic, a historical rivalry between two HBCU teams, and we got a great game. Here, Stillman's Josh Price drives hard right into Kenneth Jenkins and gets a well-earned charge call. On the other side, Derek Burdett misses the floater. There's a fight for the board, but Sean Walker grabs it, and Deshaun Sellers says, "Not today." Walker gets a third opportunity, but Stillman comes away with the ball. Stillman pulls ahead late in the fourth quarter with this three, and the Tigers would get the win 57-51. Now on to the women here. Talladega's Tiana Waltz take it in for two. Watts led all scorers today with 18 points. We head into the fourth quarter, and Dega's Courtney Lowe gets this three to fall. Now Stillman, down 48-45, and senior Deanna Williams steps up and ties the game with a three. Now Jada Minter fights through some trouble and gets the bucket to fall. Stillman pulls away in the fourth quarter to win this game 62-56. For the first time since 2001, Alabama has lost its season opener. the Florida State Seminoles in the newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium beat Alabama by a score of 31-17.
We had opportunities there in the second half, but we gave them life. We gave them hope and confidence in the first half there. And then what it does is it puts you in a spot where you got to be perfect.
One of the key factors in the loss, quarterback Thomas Castellanos. Another, an old enemy of Alabama. Gus Malzahn's offense gave Alabama defense trouble when he was coaching at Auburn University. Today, he did the same thing, but this time for a team that went 2-10 last season. The Florida State offense ended the day with 230 rushing yards and 152 passing yards. Despite this performance by Alabama, the team still believes all their goals are still attainable.
We just can't be happy with one, 8-minute drive, and just can't be happy because we're Alabama. Like, we have to earn this, and we're going to earn it, and we're going to make sure that we go back to work, and we're going to practice our tails off, and we're going to work our tails off to get this thing.
With the expanded college football playoff, teams with 1 or 2 losses have a chance to win a national championship. The only thing Alabama can do right now is get ready for Louisiana Monroe. Reporting from Tallahassee, Florida, I'm JD Zasa, WVUA 23 Sports. In March, the most dangerous teams are not always the best teams, but rather the ones that get hot at the right time. The 2-seeded Alabama Crimson Tide found themselves in the crossfire of the hottest team in the SEC when the 15-seeded Ole Miss Rebels beat the Tide in the SEC tournament by a score of 80-79. Although the score appeared close, the game was dominated by the Rebels. Ole Miss never trailed, shot better from the field and three-point range, had more bench points, and outmuscled Alabama on the boards.
They got going. When you would let a team that's on a run, that's got some confidence behind them, get going, and you don't play hard enough on defense and the effort stuff, you're asking for a game like where you could end up losing.
Dug a hole for ourselves, and they deserve to win. They came out firing after playing 2 games the other day, and we just got to be able to get to the spots, get stops later on in the game. We just need to get stops down the line, and I feel like that'll help us close out games.
The only bright spot for Alabama after losing to a 15 seed is that this team's season is not over yet. Alabama now turns its attention to the upcoming NCAA tournament, where it's single elimination.
It's win or go home now. It's win or go home this game, and we kind of let that get away. But now we don't get a extra chance after this one. So really, just being mentally prepared, coming in with a different mindset, and coming ready to play, no matter who we got to play.
Tomorrow, Alabama will find out its NCAA tournament destination, where the next chapter of its postseason run begins. Reporting from Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee, I'm JD Zasa, WVUA 23 Sports. In a year of change, specifically a new region and new rivalries, one thing is unchanged. The same team keeps winning. After defeating the Up Bobcats in the first round of the Class 4A state playoffs, the Bibb County Choctaws get the reward of traveling 2 hours south to play a powerhouse in the Jackson Aggies.
We want to compete against the best. So we're excited to get a chance at Bibb County to play another great team, another great program for another year. And, I think they do a lot of great things offensively, defensively, special teams. But at the end of the game, it comes down to who tackles better, who's more physical, and who finishes. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves in doing. So I'm excited about our opportunity.
The Jackson Aggies are currently 10-1 this year, with their only loss coming in the season opener all the way back in August. Entering this matchup, Bibb County will be the underdog, but Coach Gohagen and his team have embraced the underdog mentality.
I love being the underdog. I always want to be the underdog, you know what I mean? It's just, I feel like it adds a little bit extra fire to your players. I feel like it's something that it takes a lot of pressure off of you, to be honest with you. But at the same time, it's a lot of fun because we've been the underdog in a lot of games, and when we've come back and had the opportunities to be successful in those games, I think it does a great thing for your kids and for your program.
Last season, the Choctaws fell short of their ultimate goal in the second round of the Class 4A state playoffs. This year, the team looks to make it to the third round of the playoffs for the first time since 2020. Reporting from Bibb County High School, I'm JD Zaza, WVUA 23 Sports.